Welcome to the Daily Thunder Podcast, the rapid reaction bubble version. I am your host, Brandon Rahbar, beat writer for dailythunder.com, and I am joined by Daily Thunder contributor Ryan Woods. Ryan, so let's just jump right into this. But we're gonna save the Dre stuff for a little bit later, because that's what, that's the real storyline. So let's get all the other crap out of the way.
Sure.
Just first of all, what did you think of just having Thunder basketball back and the environment there, the atmosphere in Orlando?
Brandon, it was all smiles, right? All smiles, just staring at the TV. We've got our best, in my opinion, the orange uniforms, our best uniform ever.
Yeah.
Love that they're wearing those. Just great seeing the guys back on the floor again.
So obviously Dre is the main storyline, but what else jumped out to you in this first scrimmage back? Obviously the Thunder won, by the way, 98-84. That's like 20th on the list of like things to talk about. Who cares who won or what the score was?
My first impression, to be honest, was Shai's hair. I love the braids. Such a good look. Having Russ kind of be our swag lord for so long, watching Shai kind of pick up the mantle, I'm all about it. First thing I noticed after that really was Dort starting. I guess there was some speculation as to maybe Dre, but obviously that was answered emphatically. Maybe Ferguson, but yeah, good to see Dort, and it looks like he's picked up where he left off. He was, even though he didn't put up a bunch of points, first of all, he hit that first three, awesome, and then just his defense was phenomenal.
Yeah, and the three look clean too. Like, to me, that's the biggest question for Dort. Even though, I mean, he shot around 30% from three this year. For considering, his reputation coming into the league, and really the reason he wasn't drafted was because of his shooting. His defense has been great. You just want him to be able to shoot. And I mean, his mechanics, his release, his form, and all that stuff, it looks solid. It looks pretty good. And so, to see him hit that three just clean right off the bat. Yeah, I mean, everybody to me looked kind of almost where they left off. I mean, obviously there's some rust. Really, the only one that didn't really have that great a game as far as like the main rotation guys was Chris Paul. Mm-hmm. And, hey, 35-year-old knees haven't been in, game form for a while. He was in such a rhythm before. But if you remember towards the beginning of the season, he started off a little bit slow as well. But once he got his legs underneath him, obviously he became the Thunder's best player. So to me, it's almost a positive that if your most rusty player was Chris Paul, who's going to end up being your best player still, it's probably a good sign.
Totally. And we'll talk about Adams, I'm sure, but Adams looked phenomenal, and I think Chris Paul is a big reason for that. Finding him early really got him going, and then Steve just so active. He looked really bouncy, really healthy, and he's got to feel great having a full off season between regular season and heading into the playoffs. I don't know if anybody on the team will benefit more than Steven Adams.
Yeah, I mentioned it on Twitter. I really do think an underrated storyline was the fact that Adams every single season gets beat up more than anybody. If anybody's going to benefit from 4 months off, it's going to be Steven. He just gets nicked up and bruised all the time because he's so physical. And we've long wished for a healthy Adams in the playoffs, and it looks like we're finally going to get one. And it's a huge difference maker. I mean, it's very obvious, like just the eye test, it's very apparent that the Adams looks refreshed. And like you said, bouncy and quick, and he was just dominant. The Celtics had no answer whatsoever for Steven Adams. And like you said, even though I said Chris Paul was rusty, he was still responsible for finding Adams for all those buckets. And then I thought, Gallo obviously showed off what he always does. He had a few nice jump shots and threes. And to me, obviously, I think Adams probably jumped out the most as far as the best game, but I thought that Shai still looked like the best player, not just for the Thunder, but overall, both teams. The Celtics weren't playing Kemba, but they still had Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart, and Gordon Hayward, all those guys were out there. And to me, just like the it factor, like who looked like the star, it was Shea, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I, living in DC, I have access to the away team's broadcast, and I typically pick it. And they just rave about SGA. And I remember it from the game right before the shutdown. They were all about Shea in that game as well. Just how developed he looks at such a young age, how smooth the game looks. He makes it look really easy, and they were doing the same stuff today. He was phenomenal. Some of the moves he put on Jaylen Brown, the way he moves Jaylen right and left, it's phenomenal. And then late in the third, he had a left-handed bounce pass into Baisley that was I don't know if it was new, but it kind of caught me off guard. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was noticeable, because if Schroeder does miss a few games when his wife has their second baby, which he's probably going to, some more of that playmaking responsibility will go to Shea, and people have wondered, is he up to the task? I think he is, and I think he shows glimpses. He just doesn't have to have that responsibility very often with CP3 and Schroeder both on the court as well. But yeah, I just – we've heard raves from Presti and Donovan and Nerlens Noel about how Shea took even a bigger leap through this shutdown. And I know it's just one game and it was just a scrimmage, but to me, I see it already. Like, I mean, he did those things in the regular season, but he just come out kind of, guns a-blazing, and to me looked like the best player on the court.
Offensively, he looked like the Shea we know, maybe a little more polished, but defensively he was phenomenal. He had Gordon Hayward in the clamps this afternoon. It was really awesome.
So let's talk about Darius Baisley. I want to talk about this because he got a lot of minutes, and I kind of debated a little bit with Justin from Daily Thunder, who I respect a lot. He's really knowledgeable. I actually thought Baisley looked good and had a good game. Justin disagreed with me. I want your take on that because I can see both sides of it. He had a few turnovers, and he may not have looked great, but when you look at it, I mean, he had like 9 points, 3 of 6 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 7 boards, all in 19 minutes. He had a block, he had a steal, he had an assist. He had that pretty turnaround baseline jumper. That 3 looked clean. To me, he missed over 6 weeks due to injury. Then that whole shutdown. He's a rookie as is. To me, for the first game action he's had second most on the team since Robertson, I thought it was a pretty solid game.
Yeah, I would probably side with you. The plays that I hope that he can avoid, which Diallo has not been able to, is just charging into set defense. There, when defense gives him space, I would rather see him take the shot and live with the result and get better, rather than taking 5 hard dribbles on a straight line right into the chest of a defender. If those can, like you said, that turnaround spin move, that was Durant-esque. That was sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, the shot looks, I think the shot looks improved. Even though he didn't shoot great today, I think the shot looks a little more repeatable. And yeah, he's going to get that feel for the game back the more that he plays. But I thought it was a good, especially in the second half. He was much, much better in the second half today.
Yeah. Okay. I want to make sure I wasn't crazy because I respect Justin so much and his knowledge. I was like, wait, did he have a good game? Maybe I'm wrong.
There were a few head scratchers in the first half that I was like, really? But then you remember he's 19 years old and this first year in the league.
Exactly. Okay. So we've gone this long without talking about Andre Robertson. Let's talk about it. First of all, just from the emotional, just human side of it. Seeing this guy who we all know that Dre is just like the sweetest, most humble, genuine dude. And we know his work ethic and how hard he's fought to come back and play. And he's had setback after setback after setback. And then there's a shutdown. The season was going to end. Everybody had written him off. Everybody thought his career was over. I mean, from media to fans to, probably opposing players. So from the human side of it, how gratifying was it and nice was it to see Robertson step into the court. His team gives him a standing ovation, and then he goes out there and he honestly just kind of kicks some butt. Really,
he really did. Just super, super as happy as you can be for somebody that you don't know personally. I was happy for Andre Robertson today.
Yeah.
I was showing my wife the video of the bench kind of going nuts as he entered the game, and she likened it to a kid on his first day of school. It was really, really cool to see even guys that haven't been playing with Robert, have never even played a game with him, be so excited for him. And then of course the staff and just everybody getting behind him was really cool. And then to top it off, he turned in quite a game. It was awesome.
Really it was just incredible. I think it speaks to what kind of person and hard worker Dre is, that these guys that you mentioned had never played with him still, were so excited and emotional for him because, they've seen him do the work. They've seen him put in all that extra time. So let's talk about it. So do you think that there's a case of, everybody overhyping it because nobody expected anything and then he was solid? Or do you think he genuinely can be an X factor? And once he really gets his legs under him, you think he can become a guy that gets in the rotation for 20 minutes a game and makes a difference in some of these playoff games?
I certainly think there's a chance for him to really make a difference in these games. If he's even just as a utility defender on a specific guy, if you want to mirror his minutes to even a guy off the bench just to slow a guy down, he can be really effective in that role. He was kind of everywhere, like steals. He was reading passes coming across the lane. The recovery block that got me out of my seat.
Yeah.
Did not think we'd see that level of speed and athleticism out of him, especially in the first game. But that shows you the trust he's got in his body right now, and that's seemingly that's been what's been missing this entire time, is that he hasn't felt confident enough, either mentally or physically, to give it a go. And the fact that he is now is, I think it bodes well for this team going forward. That's for sure. I think Donovan's got a real weapon off the bench, and especially if they're not gonna play Ferguson all that much, you've got another option.
Yeah, side note, Ferguson didn't get into the game until after Robertson, after right. Diallo, after Baisley, after Nader. I thought I was going to check in before Ferguson checked in. And, and T-Ferg, he was a starter, to begin the season and, the past couple of seasons. So that was maybe telling, maybe not. We'll see. But back to Dre, I just couldn't be more excited for him. But I really do think that he has something that nobody else has on the team, and that is experience, the defensive smarts, the awareness, like you said, the way he can recover. Like, you just see him out there. He's a guy who knows what he's doing. And the Thunder has so many young guys, but behind those like top 6 guys or so, 6 or 7 guys, it's a bunch of young guys with no experience and definitely no playoff experience. And Dre can be a factor there. Just even if he's lost a little bit of his quick twitch and his athleticism and all those things, he still has that intelligence, something that you can't take away from him. And it's apparent when you watch him play. And I do think he can make a difference. And we haven't talked about it yet. Do you think his shot looked better? Obviously, he made that 3, and then he missed a 3. So you got 2 shots to work out. I want your judgment of Dre's shot, improved or not, based on 2 shots.
I'm no shot doctor, but I think it looks very, very, very similar. He might have had just a little more time and taken his time a little more, and it might have improved the aesthetics of things. But yeah, I mean, it looks the same to me. I think he's gonna miss a lot more than he makes, but we'll cheer the ones he makes. That's for sure.
I don't know, man. He's a 50% 3-point shooter the last 2.5 years.
The one from the corner, all net, great arc, everything. It was a good one.
It was beautiful. I am so glad to have Dre back. He gets the game ball, no matter what happens kind of from here on out. I already thought this season was gravy, to be honest with you. This was supposed to be a tanking, rebuilding season. And the fact that they've already made the playoffs before the season even restarts, to me, everything else was already gravy. And now you got Andre Robertson coming back.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what happens from here, it's been a great, successful Thunder season.
It was fun seeing we were coming out of a timeout. Cantor was checking into the game and came right over to Robertson and gave him a big hug, which was awesome. I had kind of, you check out and forget those two guys went to war together. So really enjoyed seeing Cantor get in the mix as well.
Yeah, and I saw Alex Abrinas tweeted something out to him.
Yeah.
You just love to see it. Somebody needs to ask Russ after that Rockets game is over about it. I want to hear Russ. That was the only thing that could have made it better. If it would have been back in Oklahoma City, Russ was on the team, or playing the Rockets or something, like kind of full circle. But it's for being in Disneyland or Disney World, I'd say this is a pretty good storybook ending to the Thunder season, kind of no matter what happens from here on out.
Totally. And maybe the full circle will be Dre guarding Russ in a high stakes playoff game in round 1.
I'm here for that. Nice. Nice. There we go. All right, Ryan Woods, thank you so much for joining us. This is the Daily Thunder Podcast rapid reaction version. We'll have more of these for all the scrimmages and all the games coming up in this bubble, and hopefully a lot of playoff games as well. Thank you for listening to the Daily Thunder Podcast.